Here we go. And we're recording. And we'll get started. So today, we're going to be talking about your career. We're going to be discussing career research and also creative thinking. So when we're talking about your careers today, we're not talking in the sense of like what you want to do, because many of you are pretty sure on what you want to do. For the most part, maybe not exactly, but today, rather, we're going to be focusing on the reason for doing what you want to do. So we'll really be zeroing in and discovering our purpose and the why, and why we really want to do the things that we enjoy doing. We know that balancing work and play can be difficult. For one, it's because of all the responsibilities and obligations that we have, right? So even though we're here at Full Sail and we've got these month-long classes that are zooming by, we still have other obligations. And then two, because of all the life stressors that we encounter, balancing work and play can be pretty difficult. And I'm really glad that things seem to be working. For those of you who are sharing in the chat box, this layout is working for you guys, and that's awesome. And you might find that some months it works really well, and then others it doesn't, depending upon the stressors and the responsibilities that you have as life goes on, right? So sometimes daily life just takes a toll on us and we don't want to do anything but rest. I know here today in Orlando, it is raining like monsooning, and I kind of just want to get under the covers, right? And enjoy the rainy day. That's kind of the benefit of doing the online stuff. I will get to do that later and still get to grade. So I'll be working, but I'll still be getting the best of both worlds. But anyway, I digress. For most of your industries, um, there's going to be a level of stress there. And even good things can be stressful, right? So having the ability to manage your actions is going to be vital to your success. And honestly, and I can say this from being a researcher in the field of psychology, stress is driven by our own perceptions. You can have someone that is 100% in the same situation as you, and one of you might view this as a, extreme challenge and just hate every minute of it, and the other might enjoy every moment of it. It's based on our perception and how we see something. And usually these perceptions involve us thinking that, maybe something's out of our control, or maybe stopping us from attaining our goals. So today we're also going to be talking about how to manage our thoughts and our actions so that our lives and our careers can be less stressful. And more balanced, really. And then for the second leg of our lecture, we'll be talking about creative thinking so that we can break down barriers that get in the way of our creativity and that kind of stop us from being creative, and ultimately help us meet success in our creative fields. Okay, yeah, we're just getting started, guys, so don't even worry, you didn't miss much. To start us off, we're really going to be looking inward at ourselves as we start this topic of career research. Okay, we're going to be, we've learned about our past history with play and how it, led us to how we currently play and really kind of shaped our path around the way, or along the way, rather. And our skills, values, and other passions have also developed, and will continue to develop in our career, along our journey. So we'll be looking at today, when we're thinking about our journey to our career, we'll be in our journey to our why, our purpose, right? We'll be looking at our core values, the golden circle, which is the why, finding our why, the ABCDE method from the reading, and we'll also be reviewing the work, play, fit, push plan that we've used all month. Okay. Um, so I'd like to kind of kick this off by really, if you can get in the zone with me. If you remember from last week, I like this whole getting in the zone where we put our distractions away, right? So let's try to get in the zone because this is going to be very beneficial to you. Um, yes, Ernesto. because these are things that we don't stop to think about. And it's very common sense seeming things, really. I'm not reinventing the wheel here or pointing out anything extremely like unheard of, but it's the time that's being taken to focus, right? Yes, Brittany, I'm so glad. She said it really made her change her mindset for the better. And that is the ultimate goal here. It is about being mindful, Ashley. Absolutely. So, what I'd like you to do is get in the zone with me and think about what is important to you. Think about it for a moment. Really consider what is important to you at your core. Okay, like deep down. Consider the definition of value when you're thinking about what's most important to you. Okay, so a value could be like a standard of behavior of what, in your opinion, is most important in life. It could be something of worth or usefulness to you, or even like a principle or a quality of something that you find valuable. Okay, so, and then as you're thinking of these things, sometimes we can sit here and ponder, and we're kind of sitting here like, oh, I don't really know. And it's really not always easy to identify these things because they're so complex. Right, Ernesto, maybe there's too many. So here are some helpful things to consider because I'm going to be asking you to share in the chat box. Um, can everybody hear me? It looks like Ashley lost audio. Okay, you still can. If you can let her know that if it doesn't come back, that she might have to log out and log back in. Oh, yay! Welcome back, Ashley. So, I was saying that sometimes it can be helpful to ask yourself these questions when you're doing self-reflection. Okay, because it's not always easy to identify something as nebulous as a value. So, here are some helpful questions and answer them for yourselves because I want you to share in the chat box what your core values are. So, what turning points have you experienced in your life? What events have shaped you? Really think about those. What highlights or powerful moments or even like compliments from others really had an impact on you? What for anger triggers, this one helped me because I had to really think about things that are going on right now in the world or maybe around me that just really rubs me the wrong way. And if things are coming to your mind, it's probably because you value them. For example, if you value freedom, you probably become frustrated or angry when freedom is restricted for you or maybe for someone else. Another exercise is to ask yourself, which values would you like to pass on to other people that you care about? Right, Ernesto? Beliefs. What do you believe to be true about life? Do you have any mottos? What are your needs? What are sayings or quotes that you really like? And what do these say about your values? So, and if you look in our reading, there's a safari book in the bonus reading. We have, little extra reading that you don't necessarily have to complete. But if you've enjoyed the reading and it really resonated with you and you're looking for more, then go ahead and hop onto the bonus material. And in the Play Your Brain Safari book, there's a values chapter, and it outlines exercises to help you explore your values from several different angles. Some of the common core values are respect, freedom, choice, independence. Jason says, I'm a peacock and I need to fly. Sounds like these kind of fit that with that, the freedom and independence. You can also refer back to your character strength survey results from week 2 if you took that. And if you didn't, go back to week 2 and take this quiz. It's important to know what your values are. For me, when I took the character strengths quiz, typically these are the ones that show up. They change every once in a while. But for me, it's love, appreciation of beauty and excellence. So, as an artist, I definitely see the beauty in the world and I have an appreciation for that. Honesty is important to me, fairness, and a love of learning. I am a forever student, you guys. So these are some things that I find valuable. So you've been sitting here hopefully thinking about yours. Um, am I, Benjamin? Good to know. What are your top 5 core values? Or even if you can't think of 5, what is some of the things that come to mind? What are some of the things that come to mind for you? Ernesto says, when a man's fate is not his own, when he may die at the behest of a man born luckier or wealthier, when he sweats all his life for scraps from another's table, then he is in peril. But when he accepts it in his heart, when he ceases to struggle against that fundamental injustice, then he is a slave. Interesting. Where is this quote from? If we're going to use quotes, we got to give credit where credit is due. It's a book, The Lotus War. Interesting. So is freedom important to you? Who um who feels like they value freedom? Benjamin, Tammy. Yep. Yep. A lot of people. Okay, so what other ones popped up for you? What other things do you value? Typing them, I'm not asking just for conversation here. There's a method behind my madness. Typing them and verbalizing them puts them in the forefront of your mind. Also, by seeing other people's values, it may put a word to a feeling that you have that you just couldn't really put your finger on. So in the chat box, I'm seeing some great ones: love, respect, happiness, manners, peace, honesty. Nice. And these are all very like core things, right? These are all like basic values. Trust. These are things that we look for in other people too, right? Laughter. Exactly, Jason. Empathy. Ooh, that's a good one. That is a really good one. Awesome, you guys. Then So we're asking, what are your top 5 core values? And if you're sharing a couple of them, ooh, Ashley shared a lot. So let's see. Making an impact, a love of learning, honesty, acceptance, and love. Love it. Leslie says, my husband's in the army and it has impacted my life in all aspects, I'm sure. Him being deployed 3 times, learning how to do everything on my own, taking care of my girls without him. I value the time when my whole entire family is together. I always put my family first, and college has been the first thing I've done for myself in the past 10 years. Love it. Thank you for his service and for all that you have gone through too, because it is a family affair, right? It's the whole family that's affected. Absolutely. Love of learning times two. That's right. That's right. Time. Yes, these are all great. So then I ask you, what are you doing in your life right now that reflects your core values? If you value time with your family, what is it that you're doing to get that time? If you really value it, what are you doing? If you have a love of learning, then what are you doing? You're here, right? Um, if you value love, are you putting love out into the world? Okay. And this might sound all like, woo woo or whatever and kumbaya, right? But it is true that what you put out, you're going to get. And that is what's different about some of the things that we teach here. We're in this psychology class, we're not teaching about the problems. We're teaching positive psychology. We want to find the exceptions. We want to find the core values. We want to put our eyes on those things, right? Okay, so what are you doing in your life right now that reflects your core values? And some students say when I ask this that they're really not doing anything to reflect their values. So then it puts us in the position of, well, what am I going to do to change that? Okay, and that also helps us identify our why or our purpose. Okay, so I know that, did all of you who have taken CRP, do we know about the why. And a lot of students struggle with their purpose. So that's why we start with values in the first place. And if you're struggling with your purpose or what you believe in, the idea of finding your why can be very helpful. So in CRP, we reviewed this concept with Simon Sinek about the why. Okay. Um, and if you haven't already done so, we have it again in our reading. Okay. So take the time to make sure that you check out the Golden Circle video by Simon Sinek in our reading. It gives you a much better understanding of what your why is. Um, and what he talks about is, yeah, it was Josh. The whole TED Talk is awesome. We have, I believe it might be a snippet of it. I'm not sure if it's the whole thing, but if you could find it on YouTube, watch the whole thing. And it's worth watching multiple times. But he talks about the golden circle. And basically, he says that everyone knows what they do, some know how they do it, but not very many people know why. And it's not about money or a profit. That's a result or an outcome. That's not your why. So, why they do what they do? Why do you exist? What is your purpose? Yes, Ernesto, and it's talked about in creative presentation. We also talk about it in this class so that we have that carry through. And it's all about you should always start with the why. People don't buy what you do, right? They buy why you do it. It is a great topic to repeat. So we're buying why you do it. So now that we've touched on values, you can get a better understanding of your why. So, why do you get out of bed in the morning? Why do you do it? Whoops. What is your why? Tammy says, I know why, but I don't know how to do the how and the what. That's okay. Knowing your why is the most important part. And I actually heard someone tell me that the how is none of my business. And because I said something similar. Um, I was in a webinar, like I said, love of learning. So I'm a forever student. And I feel like I know my why, I know my purpose, but I just didn't know what I needed to do and how, or I knew what I wanted to do. So I kind of knew the what. But I didn't know how that was going to happen. Like, I don't know how that's going to happen. And she said, the how is none of your business. Just do what you want to do to meet your why, and the how will work out. So I'll pass that on to you. I can't say that I've exactly had that happen just yet, but hopefully it will, right? You don't like that answer. It takes a little bit of the I need to control everything out of our hands, right? Yeah, it is hard. It's hard. But if you just keep doing what you need to do, which I can say that you are because you're here in GTT, right? And you're here in class, you're showing up. And maybe that's how. Maybe that is the how, right? Sometimes the how just kind of lands in our lap. So we go back to our core values. What do you do? What's important to you? And as the video mentioned, if we can know our why and work from there, it keeps us centered and all the other stuff flows together. So, think about your why, think about your purpose, and maybe, just maybe, some of these things that we're getting stuck on can be those push goals that maybe we need to throw into our work, play, fit, push plan. Now, I know that you've already submitted your week 4 plan. So basically, you are done with the weekly plans, right? But my hope is that you'll continue to use them, and that, or at least that you'll continue to make some push goals for yourself to push yourself out of your comfort zone. And I hope that maybe working on your why and finding out your what and your how can be some of those goals for you. Let's see. Adrian, it's just a topic that we're talking about here, and it's a topic in our reading for this final week of class. Benjamin, can we take a template and utilize it for future purpose? Absolutely. I hope that all of you take all of this material and save it. It is for you. Save it to your desktop in a folder that says PYP. Continue to use the templates. That's what they're there for. You know, the weekly plan, use it. Use it. Um, it's for you, and I would love to hear how it continues to bring you growth. And I hope that it helps you in your future courses too. Yes, Ernesto, you can audit them. Yeah. And, the courses evolve too. I can honestly say this is definitely not the same course that it was when I first began teaching it 5 years ago. It has evolved with the current trends and the new research. So it's really cool that Full Sail offers that opportunity. So now that you know your goals and you've thought a little bit about your purpose in life, um, and it's we really need to talk about this method, the ABCDE model, because it's not always going to be easy to work towards these goals, right? So sometimes along our journey, we encounter stressful situations that might lead us into self-defeating thoughts, especially when the going gets tough. Okay. So as I mentioned in the beginning, our perception or our views of the world are based upon our own perceptions, and stress is driven largely by our own perceptions. And usually these perceptions involve us thinking that something is maybe unfair, out of our control, and that causes us stress. Like we were just talking, I believe it was Tammy, about figuring out the how. When I mention maybe that's out of our control, we feel stressed, right? So the ABCDE model is helpful in those type of moments when maybe our perceptions aren't benefiting us in a positive way. I see a couple questions in the chat box. Let me see. Ernesto, does that apply to online classes or does it have to be campus? I believe it could be either, but that would be a great question for an advisor. So double check on that and definitely um, take advantage of it. Ernesto was asking about the auditing of courses once you graduate. Definitely look into that. That's an awesome opportunity that Full Sail offers. So jot that down in your notes. Um, Charita says, why? Because I want to strengthen myself in all aspects of my life. Sometimes we never take the time to invest in ourselves personally. And what I mean by that is that we don't always see the value in rebuilding the way we think, act, speak, or live. Love it. That is why we teach this course. Yes. Very good. Okay, hopefully I didn't miss anything else in the chat box. You guys are awesome. So this is one of my favorite tools. I use it so often with my counseling clients to really help change what I like to call the stinking thinking. And that was, I think, something that Zig Ziglar, who was a motivational speaker, called it as well. And this ABCDE model is helpful when our perceptions are not benefiting us. So it allows us to really take ownership of our thoughts, feelings, and reaction. Because life throws us curveballs, right? And it's kind of like anything else. The more we practice changing our thoughts and being prepared for reframing things in a positive, more beneficial way, the better we will be at it. So here's a descriptor of each of the letters. And this is really such a good one. So I hope that we'll be able to practice it today. Okay. A. So A stands for the adversity. This is the bad event or the problem or the situation. This is what happened. So, for example, let's say I got a flat tire on the way to work. Okay. So that was my problem, my hypothetical problem for the day. Flat tire on the way to work. B stands for beliefs. Okay, so this is my automatic thought after something bad happens. What did I automatically think? I could have thought, man, this kind of thing always happens to me when I'm running late. Maybe that was my belief. Why me? Okay. C, this is what occurred. This is the consequence, basically, that occurred because of my automatic belief. So my consequence is now I'm going to be late for work. My boss is going to be mad. He's going to fire me. These are all of the consequences that are supposedly going to occur. And really, the real consequence, because those might not even happen for real. My boss might not really be mad, might not get fired, but I am definitely going to be late for work and I am stressed out. Okay, so this is occurring because of my negative belief. D is the disputation. And what that means is we're disputing, we're kind of like acting like a lawyer here against ourselves. This is where we're disputing that irrational belief or that negative thought, and we're challenging it. Okay. So, what we would say in this part is now, how accurate is this belief? Yeah, Benjamin, kind of like the devil's advocate. How accurate is this belief that I'm going to get fired? Are there any possible options for what else could happen? And is this situation changeable? Okay, so remember what I automatically thought was this always happens to me, right? So to dispute it or to play devil's advocate, really, I can say to myself, all right, Michelle, this really doesn't always happen to you, right? Exactly, Benjamin. It doesn't always happen. I really can't even remember the last time I had a flat tire. Now, if I always got a flat tire and that was true, then I wouldn't be able to dispute that part. But I could dispute, do you really think you're going to get fired? I mean, this is the first time that you're going to be late. Your boss isn't really that strict about the time because you've been working so hard and late, they're understanding when that things happen. It's not like you caused the tire to go flat. Your boss is a pretty reasonable guy. You're a great employee. So these are the things that you're using to dispute the negative thought. This is most often where my clients have a hard time because the negative thinking is so ingrained in them that they don't even think that they're a great employee, or they don't even think that their boss is going to be reasonable. Okay. So, E, this is the outcome after you've had the disputed negative thoughts. How did you feel? Okay. So, E is the energization. It's going to energize that ABCDE method because it's the outcome and the relief, really. How did you feel? What were the positive effects of disputing the problem? Can you let it go now? Is this something that you can let go? Tammy says in the chat box, oh, wow. She says, I literally could not stop crying after going through this ABCDE model. I have had negative thoughts and perceptions and beliefs my entire life. I really feel like this model would help me so much, but I don't know how to change it. I feel like I've been trying my whole life. Mine is not so much the flat tire, but the bigger things, like deep inside things. And this is something that you can work with someone on. You can work with something. You can change your thinking. Thank you so much for being brave enough to share that because I'm sure, I am positive you are not the only one that feels that way. Thank you, Brittany. Yeah. Oh, and oh, wow. Okay. So a lot of people feel this way. And yes, it is hard to share that. This is why we work on this, you guys. This is why I was like, put down the distractions. This is good stuff. Okay. And it's not even about the flat tire. It's about the way you think. And it's a pattern, but you can change that. And it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. As with any change, it's going to be practice. It needs to be practiced every single day until it gets easier. And it does get easier. So I really hope that you're able to get the support that you need, either from people in your circle that you can rely upon, or even from counseling. As a counselor, of course, I'm all about it. And I think that everybody should have a counselor, but I'm a little biased. But practice is what's going to help you. And getting and having people around you to support you in your practice, it's what's going to help you. So I'm really glad that this resonated with so many of you. It's really important. Again, here's the example, the adversity, the belief, the consequence, the disputation, and then the energization. So if you do want to go over another example, I'm happy to show how I would do it. Um, and if that would be helpful to you guys. Um, if not, that's fine too. But just plug in something that is the adversity. What's the problem? Plug yours in here. Plug in the belief that you have here. Okay? Plug in the consequence and then dispute it. And this is, again, this is the part that's hard, the disputation. And you might have to ask yourself, okay, I don't really know how to dispute this. And then think about somebody else. What would this person say? Somebody that you know is very good at seeing a different view, a different, more positive view. Oh, Tammy, man, I could do a whole webinar on that. That's like my area of specialty. Holy moly. I don't know if we have enough time. We are only a 1 month long class. Yeah, for real. Well, let's talk afterward. We can talk a little bit more later, okay? But let's go forward so that we can at least say here, here's our example. We've looked at it. And maybe we're getting stuck in a certain spot. But again, ask yourself, what would this person say? What would what would Michelle do? All right. The more we practice with these scenarios that we might consider small, the more we increase the likelihood of applying it to the scenarios that we consider large and big and deeper. Okay. So use this model, and especially with school, especially in your careers, but really in your whole life. It can be applied to anything. Um, Again, without fail, every month, a significant amount of my students mention how much stress management and the reading about stress really resonated with them. Did anybody feel the same way in here? And I'm reading everything in the chat box, you guys. I'm just a little bit slow on this end. I think it's because of the rain. Things are kind of coming through a little bit delayed. And you know how tiny this chat box is. So I apologize if I missed anyone. Yeah, you're just going too fast for me. Ashley's feeling super stressed. You are a lot of you feeling stressed out. I know it can be tough. It's tough balancing work and school and responsibilities. I definitely get it. Um, so this this class is really about trying to give you the tools to manage these things. Benjamin, the weekly plan is that awesome for you? Look at how it's the next thing that I was just going to go over. I'm so glad to hear that. So when we think about the work play fit push model that you've utilized all month, hopefully, then this is really a tool that's meant to reduce your stress. Okay? So by having a model to work with, you're focusing in on the priorities, and that push category is really a great way to work on anything that'll give you the extra edge in your industry. Okay, so I hope that you guys use this tool to reduce your stress, to help keep you balanced, like you're saying, Benjamin, yes, and to help you grow, to help keep you on track, to help fight that procrastination monster, because I know that's a big one, right? And I hope that you're able to, you know, to use these to your benefit moving forward. I am big on the planners. They really work for me. Um, And I encourage you all to try them out. Even just having iCal set up on your computer, once you get your computers all set up, do it, do it, do it. So now we move into, and I am all, yes, okay. So, like I was saying, all these goals are going to push you into your industry, right? So we're growing, we're trying to manage our stress, and hopefully these are helping us grow into a better candidate for our career. So that brings us to creative thinking. And to really dive in, we're going to start by discussing the things that block our flow, which can be really stressful. So who can tell me what flow is? What is flow? I know that each month usually someone Jason, usually someone says flow is something that I've always felt, but I never knew there was a word for it. You guys are killing me. Jason's like, I forgot. Tammy says, I forgot to. Okay, Ashley. Yes, when the place when time doesn't matter. Benjamin, being able to lose yourself outside of time, losing track of time. Yes, so it's like being in the zone, right? You're being productive. You forget that you're hungry. You're so focused. You're able to concentrate and the creativity is just flowing. Tell me about a time that you've had flow. What were you making? What were you creating? What were you working on? I know that for me, I've experienced flow while drawing and painting. Ernesto said while making a presentation for class. Kevin said music. Tammy, music. Jason, playing guitar, playing with your son, Kevin. That's awesome. Love it. Writing a chorus style version of The Shoemaker and the Elves for one class. Love it. Yes. Love it. Well, busting a flow, Adrian. Nice. Video gaming. Great. So these are things that you guys are passionate about, right? So we really want to make sure that we don't hit any creative blocks. Okay, so the tools and the concepts from this class, like the weekly plan and the ABCDE method, they lend themselves to assisting you in pushing through blocks. Okay, some of you experienced creative blocks this month. What was a creative block for you? Jason, I'm going to guess that sometimes playing games too much can be a block, right? Too much of a good thing can become a bad thing, right? So, what other creative blocks have you had? We're going to identify them today. Accumulation of stress, yes, that is definitely one. Being tired, yeah. Writer's block. And what do you think contributed to that, Brittany? Ernesto said trying to follow a tutorial on Maya where the guy didn't know how to teach. Yeah, that can be really distracting when it doesn't really flow for you. That's hard. Jason, I bet. Bouts of depression, that could definitely be a creative block. Yes. So we've experienced creative blocks. And basically, that is an inability to access your flowing stream of inspiration or creativity, right? So think about what may or may not have worked for you this month. Because that's what's going to be like really important as you continue to push through future blocks. Knowing that having a creative block is temporary is also really important. You need to, because if not, we could be so consumed with, oh man, I'm having writer's block. It's never going to end. I'm not going to be able to do this project. I'm not feeling creative. What am I going to do? Okay. And then thoughts also can be creative blocks too, right? Lending to anxiety, self-doubt, self-criticism. So we need to revert back to our lessons in positive psychology, using that ABCDE method to reframe blocks and to push yourself into better ideas. Okay. Um, let's see. So think of yourself really as having a toolbox, and this month you're leaving class with additional tools in your toolbox. Okay, so take them with you, please, and continue to use them. And really, just pushing through those blocks is imperative. So, another way of setting ourselves up for success and basically eliminating blocks to creativity is to know our peak performance time. Benjamin says, I found that with the balance of the weekly plan, I haven't really had any blocks. However, with last month's class of creative presentation, I had a block and I called, of course, I get all the way to the end of your sentence only to see what you're talking about, Benjamin. I'm sorry that that happened. Um, oh, okay. So your liaison, I thought you were saying the block was your liaison. Whew. Glad, glad that wasn't the case. You said you called your liaison and your liaison was able to help you. Oh, good, 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 good. Brittany says she can't hear me. Can you guys hear me? Oh, I'm so glad your liaison's awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good. I'm so glad that they were able to just explain it in a different way and it made more sense to you. That's great. So, with that said, let's also look at our peak performance time. And that's not bad, Ashley. She says, is it bad that I'm most creative at like 11 p.m. to 3 a.m.? That makes you a night person or a lark, right? So the attention was given to work, play, fit, push, and it lends itself to the idea of peak performance time. So we want to consider these times that we're most creative, right? If it's, during the day, look at, or even if it's at night, look at when you feel most energetic, most focused, and most productive. Okay. How many of you are early birds? And maybe like early morning is what works best for you for creativity. Welcome back, Brittany. I'm just asking everybody if you're a morning person or a night person when it comes to creativity. Okay, so Brittany and Jason and Tanisha, you guys are all morning people. Sharita says, my peak performance depends on the day of the week. Some days it's really early, other times it's overnight. It depends on your mood for the day. So it might just work for you um, to do both, and that's fine too. But maybe for the next week, really pay attention and see. You might be energetic and productive, but when are you most creative? It might be a different time than what you currently think. And really, there's no right or wrong. It's just important to know this about ourselves. It's important to reflect on this. Okay. Um, Paying close attention to when we're most energetic, when we're more easily focused, it really helps us see when our peak performance time is, and then we can adjust our day to day activities because of it. For me, I get up around 7:30 every day, even on the weekends, which sometimes I dislike because sometimes you just want to sleep in, but my internal clock just wakes me up. And that could be my internal clock has been kind of set because of my job, because of my 2-year-old. That might be it too. But I've actually discovered that I am more productive during the morning hours than I am at any other time during the day. So I get up in the morning, I take care of little things around the house, make breakfast, answer emails. When I get to work here during the day, I start my grading early in the morning because I can give my all to you guys then. Because when the afternoon hits, I'm like, ooh, I'm cross-eyed. I don't know if I'm reading this, and I have to reread things a couple times. So in the morning, I'm a well-oiled machine and I get stuff done. I'm not cross-eyed now because I'm talking with you. It's funny because I'm able to interact with people better probably in the afternoon, but when I'm reading things, um, and having to like critique and grade, for some reason that's just a little bit different for me. So I don't know. That extrovert part of me means that I can talk to anybody all day, which is great because I'm seeing clients all day. So I'm able to give my all in that sense. But when it comes to like the reading and maybe even the creativity, I think I'm best in the morning. So think about that. Um, and really think about when you're going to schedule these things. Okay. And when you're going to experience flow the most, because we kind of want to set up these ideal situations for you to reach a state of flow. Because imagine if you're reaching flow, like I know that some of you said, achieve flow doing a lot of different things because I'm a very focused person. Imagine if you scheduled time to set up the perfect scenario for flow during your peak performance time. Imagine how much you would get done. Crazy, right? So let's see. I'm looking at my notes here, and I know that I wanted to go over time batching with you. I'll admit, this is my first time doing this lecture, so I'm a little bit turned around here. I think I might have skipped ahead. I did. Sorry, guys. I did get cross-eyed. See, Benjamin? This is absolutely true. If this was in the morning, I probably wouldn't have gotten ahead of myself. So, as we get into this, we're going to take a little play break because clearly Michelle needs a play break here. Am I right? Absolutely. So, we've got our play break. Let's get creative. We're going to talk about how to minimize interruptions. This is kind of going back to our peak performance time and making sure that we don't get interrupted in the middle of it all. So we're trying to set up ideal situations for flow. And by doing that, we also have to recognize those creative blocks and the things that can get in the way, right? Thanks, Ernesto. You wouldn't have known, but I was kind of stumped and I was like, why is it saying this slide right now? Okay, so think about the following images that I'm going to show you, and I kind of want you to get creative and talk about how can you minimize these types of interruptions. Okay, children, dun dun dun. What could you do if this is your life? If this is your life and you're trying to achieve flow and it's your peak performance time, but you've got children interrupting you, what can you do? Sharita says, ground them. Ernesto says, television. Man, let me tell you, television is a good distraction for them. Tell them to play hide and go seek. Work at their bedtime. Nice, nice. And then never look for them after they hide and go seek. You guys are bad. I'm seeing some suggestions that could work, but others are a little bit questionable. So, with children, we can take play breaks with them, right? Or get them involved. Yes, Benjamin. Yes. So I know with me, if I'm trying to finish a painting and my 2-year-old wants my attention, how can I say no? So cute. How am I going to tell her to go hide and then just never look for her? I'm going to try to get her involved with painting too, right? Yes. Awesome. Okay, what about if you don't have a private space to work? Maybe you're at home or maybe it's at work and there's just like people talking and there's side conversations. How do you work around that? Maybe you've got loud roommates. How do you find your focus then? All right, everybody's saying headphones, noise cancellation headphones, Panera, tell them to leave, music. Yes, yes, earbuds, headphones. And they've got awesome headphones. I'm sure you guys know. They have awesome noise canceling headphones. Going to the library. Yes, great, great. And then maybe communicate with them about when you're working. That's how you survived creative presentation. I love it, Ashley. Nice. All right, what about technology? When we've got the beeping and the little notification, the bings, the rings, the pop-ups, what can we do? Put on your do not disturb. How many of us actually do this? You do? Wow, you guys are awesome. Make someone hide your phone. Productive timers. Yes, there's an app for that, right? You don't check them until you have time. You guys are awesome. That's really good. I can say this is kind of a bad one for me, which is why I am challenging myself and doing Facebook free February. It's been a little bit difficult, I'm not going to lie. Um, but um, I'm taking and practicing what I preach, right? Because I'm about to talk to you about trying something new for 30 days, which is exactly what I did with Facebook free February, although there's not 30 days in February, so I'm kind of cheating. But, and all of the talking fast that I'm doing is showing you how much coffee I had because I'm a morning person. Peak performance time. All right. So, one thing that you can also do is batch your time. So, I really love this concept, and some of you might already be doing this. Um, this is from one of the articles in the reading, and it's all about bundling or grouping your tasks into specific days. Some of you have done it on your weekly plans without really knowing that you were time batching. So it's what's been really great is you find out where your peak performance time is, and then you schedule things to work for your peak performance time. So when I'm not feeling productive, I'm low on energy, maybe I can use that time to delete emails and pay bills, things that don't require a lot of creativity. And maybe do the things that require more focus um, in during a time that you can minimize those interruptions that we talked about. Okay. So some of you said that it's working for you. What are some of the things that you batch together? Let's see. You schedule your day and never do a darn thing on it. I've heard that it's hard picking up this habit, Brittany, if it's not something that's coming naturally. One thing that I've heard other students do that really worked for them was setting it as the screen of the background on their phone, like making their weekly plan a file that could be an image as their background on their phone, or setting it as the background on their computer, or maybe putting it on the mirror in their bathroom and just making it visible. That's an option. So, thinking about that. Anybody else doing some time batching? Let me scroll through. The one thing I don't do nags me all day to where I can't batch. I have and gotten better. I'm not sure what you mean. Let's see. Ashley says it's difficult with my task list, but I do a lot of the tedious tasks in batches because I want to get them done. Awesome. I find that doing homework and then treating myself to playing World of Warcraft for finishing up my homework for the day. Yeah, so a reward. You're using the reward system. Um, Ernesto says this class has me rethinking what I want and what would make me happy. Good. Even though that's tough when you think you knew what you wanted, and maybe this is having you rethink that, it's important that you're rethinking because you want to be sure of yourself, right? Even though that might be a challenge and it might be hard to change things since maybe a ball is already going in one direction, it's better for this to happen now than later. Sooner than later is always better. Awesome. Awesome. All right. And again, going back to my Facebook free February, I want to wrap up our session with a little video. So click on the 30 days, try something new for 30 days in the materials section, and then let me know when you're done. It's about 3.5 minutes, and it's in the materials tab. And just let me know when you're done. All right. So, what did you guys think? You want to try something now? I will try something if you try something. So let's hold ourselves accountable. Maybe it could be a goal to try the ABCDE model at least a few times a day until it becomes natural. Maybe it could be eliminating a behavior. Like you said, 30 days is just enough time to make it a habit. And this is a really good concept to use in your push category if you'd like. Remember, small sustainable changes. These are things that you could keep going and that will make them more likely to stick. Okay? So, what better time will you have to assess your life balance, include more play, and adjust your thinking towards fun and how it can be incorporated into tasks that we have maybe separated from play in the past. So bring these ideas and activities that you've learned about all month to life in your plan for the week. Even though you've already submitted it, really work through it and, you know, and go from there. Overall, it's really our goal and the bigger lesson of the month is that you're ideally walking away from this course with ways to incorporate and apply all that play has to offer in your personal and professional life. Okay? So use gamification as a tool. Use the weekly plan as a tool. Apply the PERMA concept. All right. So think about everything that you've learned this month and how it affects our brain and how you can really make some lasting change here. So I challenge you all to do so. Um, that's really the big picture here of what we're trying to achieve. And hopefully, you've gotten something out of doing so. I hope that even just the process of writing down your goals as a necessary assignment got you thinking about that. Or maybe even just by coming to this GTT and thinking about your values, it gave you the time and the space to sit and think about these things. So, in closing, I really enjoyed our time together today. You made it super easy to go through all of this material. And I thank you for, all of your participation here. This is our final GTT session. If you have any questions, I would love to stick around since we kind of packed two sessions into one. Yeah, this is the two sessions into one. I'm gonna stick around and I would like to go through the ABCDE method with you again for those of you who had questions. So, like I said, this is the end of the seminar. We pushed both of them into one. But I'd love to stick around and answer any questions that you might have about the course concepts or anything like that. Here's the references and our images that we used. Thank you, Brittany. Um, okay, great, Tammy. Yeah, if anybody wants to send me any email if you ask me any questions via email, it's mfinan, FYNAN at fullsail.com. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about the course concepts for week 4? And remember, you're also welcome to raise your hand and I can call on you. Let me see. Eric, did you put your hand up just now or was it already up? Let me see. Okay. Eric, are you there? I see you have your hand up, but I'm not hearing anything. That was a mistake. Okay, no problem. I'll go ahead and put the hands down. But if anybody has a question, you can put your hand up in there. You're so welcome, Ashley. And let me know, guys. I see that many of you are still in here. If you preferred this method of condensing both of the lectures into 1 hour, let me know. Or if you preferred having a bit more time to dive into the material and having the 2 sessions, let me know. So which did you prefer? The way we previously did it? The time was just as great. Okay. You preferred this way. Okay. Yeah, so you prefer like condensing and then having the instructor kind of stick around for a bit longer after with questions and everything. Okay. Because that would allow us some time to maybe apply the material for those who are interested. Okay, awesome. Good to know because these are here for you. So ultimately, we want to make sure that you guys are getting the most out of it. There was a lot of material to cover, yeah. And it doesn't really give you the break that you might need or want. But by condensing it, we're still kind of making the most of the time. Fast and fun. I like it. Good stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead since I'm not seeing any other questions and let's go back to the ABCDE method. Okay, so here is our example. And this was the example of the flat tire, right? So we're looking at the problem is the adversity. So we're picking a problem, and then we're going to talk about what is my negative belief about the problem? What is the consequence about the negative belief? What is the disputation and the energization? If you do have to go, thank you so much for coming. And if you'd like to stick around, I'd love to have you. I'm going to continue to archive this, so if you do have to leave, you can hop back on. Not necessarily, Brittany. When we wrap up, once everybody is done with the ABCDE method and we answer any questions, then everybody's free to go. You too, Josh. Okay. So, does anyone have an example that they would like to work through? Remember, kind of keeping it basic. We don't want to turn it into a session, right? But what is an example that isn't too personal that we could use and then everybody could possibly benefit from it? I can't remember who specifically had an example that they wanted to work through. Okay, you didn't get the job or the part that you wanted. Okay, so that's our problem. That's our adversity. And let's go up through these two one by one. Okay. Our problem is we did not get the job and it was really, let's even add some stress to this. We have bills coming up, so we don't have the money. We really loved it. We thought it was the perfect job for us, and we're actually kind of shocked that we didn't get it. Okay. So let's say we didn't get the job. What could my belief possibly be if I didn't get the job? What could my negative belief be in that type of scenario? I'm not good enough. I'm never going to get a job. This always happens to me. What else? I knew it. I knew I wasn't going to get the job. No one's ever going to see my talent. I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I'm in the wrong field. What is wrong with me? Man, you guys are really good at this part. I can't wait to see how we are at disputing it. All right, so that was the automatic negative thought, which I like to call ants. Automatic negative thoughts. Because when you think about ants, there's never just one ant. Am I right? No, he's there with all of his friends, and they're marching and they're infesting, and you try to kill one, but you can't, and because he's got like a million friends, and most of the time you like squish it, it's still like moving around. Like it's really hard to get rid of an ant problem. Okay? That is the same with automatic negative thoughts. So think about them as ants. But we need an exterminator, my friends. And once you get a really good bug control going, your house and your home and ultimately your brain is going to be free of ants. Okay? So, what is the consequence? What occurred because of my negative belief? What consequence happens when I'm sitting here with these ants? I'm saying to myself, I am not good enough. I'm in the wrong field. This always happens to me. I'm not surprised. Okay, Tammy, yes. The consequence is you get discouraged. You give up. You quit. Maybe you don't even apply for another job, or you're thinking that you shouldn't. Maybe you sit there and cry and eat an entire tub of ice cream. Maybe you stop putting yourself out there. You get dependent upon others. Yes. You guys are right on it. Okay, so we're going strong through this ABCDE method. All right. You get really angry. It hurts your family dynamics. Maybe you lash out at other people and it gives you problems at school. Maybe you don't turn in your homework because you just give up in other areas of your life too. Boom. Okay, we got this down. Next. This is the tough part. Okay. This is where we're exterminating the ants. So we're going to be challenging our irrational belief. So let's get back to those negative thoughts. What were they? That I'm not good enough, that this isn't going to work for me, that maybe I'm in the wrong field. What is a disputation of my talent will not get recognized? How do we dispute that single thought? Because we kind of have to go through each thought. My talent will never be recognized. What is the negative thought there? Or how are we going to dispute it? Okay, what talent did I show them? Okay, well, maybe in my job interview, there really wasn't a lot of time for me to show them all that I could have done. Did I bring a portfolio? Did I, go above and beyond to really show them who I am? Could it be improved? Maybe it wasn't the place for me. Maybe it wasn't the right fit. Even though I felt it deep down inside, there's a reason that it didn't work out. Maybe there's a more fitting part for me out there that allows me to tell the story that I want to. Whew, that sounds a lot more refreshing. Maybe it wasn't meant to be at that moment. Okay, what about the negative thought that I'm too old? I saw that one. Tammy says, I'm too old. Well, is that true? Do I really think that they didn't hire me because of my age? Isn't there something to be said for wisdom and experience that comes with age? Maybe we're just pulling at straws here. Maybe it really has nothing to do with age. Are there other people in that field that are my age? Don't I want to be with an employer that accepts me for who I am? A lot of internships only want 18 to 25. Really? They're putting the age limit on there. That's interesting. I would definitely apply anyway and say that I, at heart, am 18. And you know what? By doing that, they're going to be like, man, can't argue with that. This girl's creative. Entry level wants 5 years of experience. Man, do I know that song. I know that song. And yeah, that could be the thing that gets you hired. We have to think creatively. When you are wording your experience, please think outside the box. When I say I wanted to get a job doing, let's see, public speaking, let's say that. I don't know. I'm going to say that I have spoke in front of, I'm going to literally think, okay, how many GTTs have I done? With 20 people in each GTT, that's about 100 a month. Multiply that by a year. This is how many people that I've talked to. I have coached this many people, and that's just in a year. So think about that. Okay, what are some of the other thoughts? Which ones are you having a particularly hard time challenging? Which irrational belief are you having trouble challenging? All my jobs are not related. And that's okay, Ernesto, because that does show that you have different experience. You could look at it in two ways. Some people will say, man, here I am putting in all my time at one company, but now they say that I don't have experience with other places. And then other places or another person might say, here, this shows loyalty. It really depends on the interviewer. And I really believe that the right place for you will happen, but I also believe that you have to be open to it. And if you're finding that these negative thoughts are causing blocks in your energy to accepting the things that are meant for you, I really think that those things can get in the way. And that's why it's important to work on these automatic negative thoughts and work on those irrational beliefs. Yes, positive self talk practice and gratitude is a huge one as well. Leslie, I'm not sure what that is, and maybe you have a cat leaning on the keyboard. Man, you guys, do you see how much I have practiced the ABCDE method? My automatic thought was not, man, Leslie is being really rude. That was not my automatic negative thought. I thought, man, I bet you her cat is sitting on the keyboard, or maybe she leaned on it. And come to find out, her little daughter did. See? We need to zap those automatic negative thoughts. I could have sat there and said, man, this student, this Leslie Hall, look at her typing all these dots in the chat box. How rude, right? Oh, hi, Ziva. That's so awesome. Okay. Ashley says, so while I was watching the Hall of Fame thing, Leslie Brathwaite made a really important statement. Every time you get a no in the industry, it's actually a yes to a question you haven't even asked yet. Ooh, that's nice. So, do we feel like we have this ABCDE method down? The very last part is the energization, the outcome after you disputed the negative thoughts. So, instead of having that negativity, how do we feel? I know that when I'm putting this into practice, which I do every day, I am walking the walk and not just talking the talk on this, because I've felt the difference between when I allow the negative thoughts to be there versus when I dispute them. And it feels a heck of a lot better. We feel wonderful, yes. So, this is a practice. You're not going to be great at it in the beginning. Try it for the next 30 days. It's going to make a huge difference in your life. I promise. If you do it every day for 30 days, email me. I want to hear all the great things. Wonderful. I can call my other job applications back. Yeah. Oh, share, Ashley. Ashley says she has a good thing for the age negative thought. And this is the benefit of doing it in a group. Because if you're stuck and this is really your negative thought, other people who really don't share that view can provide you with other options. Yeah, Tammy, the hardest part is going to be the disputation because that's where the change happens. That's the part we're practicing. We're already able to identify the problem and our negative belief and even the consequence. Sometimes the consequence is even blurry because we're not seeing how it's affecting us. But if we're able to get that far, then we have to really focus on the disputation. So Ashley's going to share her disputation for the age thing. I'm sure she's typing it up for us. She said, at 30, Harrison Ford was building kitchen cabinets. Robin Thicke was praying for his first hit record. Oprah Winfrey was between jobs, and J.K. Rowling was still faithfully writing Harry Potter. Ooh. Keep that in your back pocket for any type of interview question regarding age. That's awesome. You guys are an awesome group. I'm so glad that I had the chance to hang out with you today. Um, Again, if you have any trouble using this ABCDE method, reach out to us, your instructors. That's what we're here for. We're here to help you. I hope it's something that you can kind of keep in your toolbox as you move forward. And I hope that applying this to our own negative thoughts instead of just the example that was provided here, I hope that it was helpful. You are so welcome, Tammy. Your classmates are awesome. I love the suggestions that were provided. Um, and if that is it, I don't see any hands up. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording. And if you have any questions at all, reach out. And I wish you the best, you guys. This is our last lecture. Go forth and apply the psychology of play course concepts that you have learned and teach others. Oh, I'm so glad. Yes, please stay in touch, everyone. Network, network, network. And let me know when you're graduating. I would love to shake your hand on that stage. And I will talk to you then. Bye, everybody.